All right, guys, it's IT Ops Guy. Well, you know me. The first thing I do on a brand new install, if I'm going to do anything, is I'm going to see what in the world we're already monitoring for. And in order to do that, we're going to go up to alerts and activity here. So let's take a look and see what we got. And let's go down to alerts. And let's go to manage alerts. And I want to see the ones that are enabled. So I'm going to go by this group by over here. And I want to look at enabled. And I've got 109 alerts that are on, y'all. I mean, that is a lot. Now, this is a test system. I don't need my Solarwinds server to be that busy because, like I said, we're just playing around here. And so the more stuff that we can clean up here, the more stuff that we can turn off, the better performing our server is going to be. So I'm going to go through this list. Let's see what I can turn off and what we keep on. We're going to start with a baseline of 109. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. You can see that we turned off a bunch of alerts. So I forget how many it was that were on, but it was close to 100. And now we've got a total of 15. I think those are the 15 that I care about in this lab environment. And so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and just go to my dashboard. You see I got a bunch of stuff here. Some stuff I don't really care about. So we're just going to move it and get some stuff out of the way. Ooh, I am interested in the anomaly-based alerting. I haven't seen that. So I'm super excited to actually look at that. So I'm going to leave that there. We're not going to do any cloud monitoring right now. We're not going to worry about groups. We're not going to worry about this. Yeah, we're just getting some stuff out of the way. There we go. And the support devices. I don't have any of those, so we're going to leave it be. 10 audit events. Perfect. I'm going to give myself a little room. I like a little room. And I do want to see apps with problems. I think that's helpful. And nodes with problems. So let's go ahead and add just a couple of widgets. I'm just going to write with problems, and we've got applications, and then we've got nodes with problems. These are two of my favorites just because they're easy. And let's go ahead and just say that we are done for now. And now we've got a much better setup. I actually don't like this all nodes one, so we'll get rid of that too. All right, beautiful. So we've got some stuff going on. The board is starting to look a lot better. The other thing that I like to do is I just like some of the descriptions better. You can see I switched back to the legacy mode here. I like it because I can add additional columns kind of as I see fit. I don't know if you can do that in the new one. I guess we should just go ahead and test it out. For this guy here and for the other one, I like to modify the name so I'm not looking at something short. You know, I manage a service center. I've got guys and gals of all different skill levels, from a tier 1 to specialists, you know, people who are really, really good at a particular job, but they've all got different skill sets. And so one of the things that I like to do is kind of describe these nodes a little bit better. DC1 makes a lot of sense to me. I know it's a domain controller, but they may not know it's a domain controller. So I'm just going to put in here domain controller. I might even put in prod, you know, if it's a prod domain controller, if it's a lab, something like that. But I'm just going to put in domain controller just so we all know what we're talking about here. And then we've got our Solarwinds server. Let's go ahead and edit this guy. And again, I'm going to capitalize that and just do the Solarwinds server. And now it's just me, so I know what these things are. It's not a big deal, but I'm just showing you some of the things that I do to try to help run a cleaner instance of Solarwinds to make it more responsive. again, this is just a brand new VM. We didn't have any of the prerequisites installed. So SolarWinds installed IAS for us. SolarWinds set up SQL Express for us. I didn't have any of that prepared. I literally loaded the ISO and said, install. And it said, okay, I can do that. So that's really kind of neat. So as you can tell from the menu, there's just a ton of different things you can do with SolarWinds. There's a lot of different components. The thing about observability is you pay per the node, but you get access to every single component, I'm going to call them components, that SolarWinds offers, right? And so you get access to NCM, their Network Configuration Manager. You get access to NPM, the Network Performance Monitor. You get access to SAM, the Server and Application Monitoring. IPAM, IP Address Management. Just all this stuff. VNQM is another one. Cloud stuff, NetFlow, patching, virtualization, on and on and on it goes. A lot of bang for your buck. Now, in the past, in the models that I have, I paid by product that I wanted. And so if I wanted SAM, I would pay for SAM, the server and application monitoring. If I wanted NPM or NCM, I would pay for those products individually. And I would pay still for the quantity of nodes that I needed. And then once I purchased the product and bought the license in perpetuity, then I would pay for support, or essentially the right to upgrade. Well, that's a huge cost. SolarWinds is not cheap. It does all this stuff, and it does it very, very, very well. And in order to do that, you've got to have engineers and security engineers and software engineers and all these different experts that do a bunch of different things and do it very, very well. That costs a lot of money. And if that costs a lot of money, that means the software costs a lot of money. And so that meant I was paying a lot of money, right, to have this software. The cool thing about observability is I believe this licensing model gives you, even if you're a small business customer, it gives you the ability to get enterprise class monitoring software like SolarWinds at a price point that you can afford, right? So let's just go and look at pricing just real quick. So here's pricing. It's nothing crazy. You're talking about starting at $6 a node in order to monitor these servers or VMs. That's not huge. What we're talking about right here isn't this full suite that you see in front of you. It's not all four things. We're just talking about this area, the monitoring and observability. Don't even concern yourself with these other things here. These don't necessarily matter. If you've got a production database that you want to monitor, it might be worth $117 a month to you to monitor that thing. But if you are, say, a newer business, or whatever the case might be, you can absolutely monitor this stuff yourself. Get really good monitoring software and pay a smaller price for it. So this is observability, self-hosted. Again, you could host this yourself. I'm doing it on a single VM with 32 gig. I wouldn't recommend that, right? In a production environment, you should at least, at a bare minimum, have a separate SQL server and then a SolarWinds server. So a very minimum 2 server setup. We're cheating. We're doing it all on a single server, but this is a lab and that's okay, right? But like I said, in a production environment, it wouldn't be okay, at least not for very long. You'd go, well, that's not working out well. And you'd be right. But here's all the things that you can monitor for that $6 a month if you do self-hosted. Now, of course, SolarWinds be happy to do a SaaS for you, right? Just give you a SolarWinds instance. You don't need servers to manage it. You just point stuff to it and say, monitor my stuff. You can certainly do that as well. All right, beautiful. Well, that is the information on the self-hosted. Of course, is very, very minute and small right now. All right, guys. Well, just getting some more nodes added here. One of my last ones here was my QNAP. And you can see that I added this one, and it's complaining about physical memory. It's saying, well, you're already using 89% of it. That's okay. On this particular node, I'm okay running under, I would say, like 92%. I'm perfectly happy with. So I'm going to go ahead and come into this one and modify it. So I don't see a warning for physical memory under 92%. And the other thing that I like is I want to see at least 3 polls. So we're going to say warning is 92. And I want, again, at least 3 consecutive polls. You can give me a critical. Again, I want at least 3 consecutive polls. So let's go ahead and do that. I always like to get 3. It seems like a lot of the alerts by default are a single poll. Well, I mean, you run an update or you install an application and you're going to hit that roll all the time and it's going to drive you nuts. So as best you can, make sure that you're doing things on at least, at a very minimum, at least 2, if not 3 or more, depending on the sensitivity of the application or the virtual machine that you're monitoring. You know, your knowledge of your own environment is going to have to dictate how you monitor these things. So I'm perfectly happy on my QNAP monitoring it like that, 92%. You can see now it's saying, oh, you know, this thing's in a critical state. It's not. If we go and we look at this alert, I'm going to actually just go ahead and come in here and acknowledge it because I modified this memory usage. So I'm not that concerned with it. So let's come in here and just say, well, acknowledge this. And you can even leave a note in here, you know, for your other staff and say, modified the node for a 3x poll on a minimum of 92% for warn and 95% for critical. And just go ahead and acknowledge it. When you do that, you'll go back and you'll notice that everything is fine. You no longer have that alert. It's no longer there. After one polling cycle, you'll see this QNAP NAS go away. And that's a good point. Another really good point, which is what are our polling cycles by default? So let's go in here into the settings. And I just like to do a Control F. And I want to know what are my polling settings. So let's come over here and let's see what they are by default. So our default node poll interval is 120 seconds. That's every 2 minutes. Okay. That seems like a lot to me. We're getting the nodes every 2 minutes, interfaces, volumes every 2 minutes. Now, we've only got 3 nodes. No big deal, right? You can imagine it's not a problem on 3 nodes. Imagine 300, 600, 900. My environment, I've got 1100. I am not set to 120 seconds, okay? I also don't have a 32 gig VM running it, but let's just think about it. I'll tell you what my settings are. You can adjust, but my production settings are about 600 seconds, okay? Every 10 minutes. If I have things that are a little bit more critical, I might set it at a little bit lower. But 600 seconds is plenty. Interface polling, again, 600 to knowing every 10 minutes. Maybe interfaces you want to know less. That's fine. Do 300. Volumes, How often do you need to pull a hard drive? 6 times an hour is 600 seconds, right? Every 10 minutes, that would be 6 times an hour. If your node, you want to pull it more often than that, go ahead. Now we're pulling it every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. Default rediscovery interval. Again, you could do this. How many times do you want to do it? This is 48 times in a 24-hour period. This is 24 times in a 24-hour period. This is 12 times in a 24-hour period. Probably a lot better. Default node topology pull interval. Stats. Interface. Default volume. What are we doing here? What's it complaining about? Oh, value must be between 150. Okay, 150. 150. 150. Make it happy. Oh, that one's 120? That one's 120. All right, 120. 120. There you go. Okay. But take a look at these things. Figure out what it is that works for you. The other thing is down here in your retention, you're only keeping detailed stats for 7 days. Mine is set to 30. My hourly, what's this? Integer must be between 1 and 60. It must retain detail hourly, daily. Okay. So mine set to 30. My hourly set to 60. And my daily stats I try to keep there. So then container, 30, 60, 365. Baseline data collection. Right? Value must be a valid integer from 1 to 60 and must maintain detail hourly data. Detail hourly data. Yeah. That's fine. 60, just like that. Let's come down here and make that 30, 60. And so basically you make them all match, right? Like that is what you're doing here, is you're making them all match. Oops. Should be good. I know it was giving me a little error. There we go. Okay. It's just the UI was giving me a little error. Let's see if we go back. Yeah, see, it's gone. Okay. Yeah, the UI, the error didn't go away, but it allowed us to go. It was confusing at first, but there you go. So, yeah, look at those things because that is going to determine how well your SolarWinds instance is running for sure. There are just a ton of settings. There are so many different things to look at. We're going to hit on more of them. But the goal of today was just to kind of get our SolarWinds setup up and running, which we did yesterday. But adjusting the quantity of alerts, adjusting the polling, getting our screen set up, adding a couple of nodes, just a couple of things like that. We'll work on this more in the coming days and weeks. That's all I've got for right now. If there's something that you want to see specifically, I always forget to tell you guys this. Please put a comment down below. I will answer your comment and I will try to make a video just for you that explains whatever it is that you need. Now, granted, my lab doesn't have all the equipment in the world. So if you're looking how to add a Cisco switch or a Palo Alto firewall or a, what have you, I may not have one of those things to play with. So I'll do the best that I can with what I've got available to me. But until the next time, y'all have a wonderful evening.